Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. Our guest this segment is C. David Moody Jr. He's the CEO of C.D. Moody Construction, and his story is an incredible one. He was sexually abused as a child.
Yes.
And, this is obviously a touchy subject. A lot of people have experienced this. I want to start also with the fact that you have written a book on your experience with this.
Yes. It is a very tough subject. It's one of those subjects no one wants to really talk about. But we have an estimated 46 million sexual abuse survivors just in the United States.
Without getting too graphic, tell me what happened to you.
When
it happened.
Okay, I was about 9.5 years old. We had a male babysitter. He was the older son of our normal babysitter. Of course, as normal, 80% of predators is someone the family knows or a family member. My parents, of course, thought I was in good hands, and like most predators, they groom you, set you up, then whatever sexual abuse activities they're going to do, they do, then the threats and the whole deal. And this is, of course, in the mid-'60s where the odds of us talking about it was slim and none. But he was your typical predator that preys on children.
How did you get out of it?
Well, fortunately, the second time, my mother just had an inkling. She confronted him. He left. We didn't talk about it. And I never saw him again. You know, he was never allowed back to the house. And then a few years later, we moved to Michigan because my dad got a job at the University of Michigan. So I was completely removed from the environment. And that was just a big help for me personally to be out that environment.
How did you carry that with you? How did it affect you personally at the time? Probably you didn't even know at
the
time.
You know, at the time I didn't. But as I look back and as I wrote my book, it was affecting my self-esteem. I was always nervous. I worried all the time. But when it really hit me was in 1992 when I finally told my wife, first person I ever told. I suffered from panic attacks. I had a complete nervous breakdown. My business was only 4 years old, so I had to keep working. I suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome. But even then, I only shared it with a very few people. I still was very silent.
That was until the Jerry Sandusky story broke.
Yes, when the Jerry Sandusky story broke.
Just to clarify who that is, and this is video of him, he was an assistant coach at Penn State under Joe Paterno who was accused and convicted of sexually abusing several young boys.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know, I was working out in the mornings and I'd see it on ESPN every day, and I just finally went, you know, enough's enough. You know, more of us have got to speak up to let people know the damage that's being done, the fact that people would leave children with Jerry Sandusky when they had a suspicion. And so often people say children are resilient, but they forget we become adults, and then that's when we really have to deal with it. And most people don't speak up about it. I think 90% goes unreported.
It's an awful crime. Tell me about how your book has been cathartic for you and maybe helpful to other people.
Well, when I was going through this in 1992, the panic attacks and everything, I could find where people said they had been sexually abused, but I could never find anything where people talked about what it was like to suffer through panic attacks.
The stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah, the stuff that comes along with it, the self-esteem, all the things, and I'm building a business at the same time and raising a family. So writing this book is really helpful for me, but it's my way of giving back to others who are suffering in silence, those who think they're alone. I want them to know they're not alone, they're not strange, they're not weird for some of the effects that we go through. So it was really more of a way to give others hope and a voice to the voiceless.
If a child is stumbling upon this program on a Saturday morning and sees this and has been dealing with some of the same issues, I mean, it's very difficult to speak to a child about it rationally because they don't exactly know what's going on. But what do you say to someone out there?
Well,
or someone that's experienced it and maybe hasn't said anything about it.
One of the things, I have a website, it's called moodyspeaks.com. It's also where you can buy the book. But I have resources on there. I'm not a professional. I'm just a survivor that shares their story. But I have resources of where people can go, call. I have other survivor stories.
There is now help available.
Yes, there's a lot of help.
There wasn't in the 60s.
No, in the 60s there really was no help. But there's so much help available. There's so many agencies available. There's many child advocacy centers. There's Darkness to Light, the training system that's available. So there's a lot of things, and all that's on my website.
All right, one more time, just so you know, the book is called Fighting Through the Fear, My Journey of Healing from Childhood Sexual Abuse. C. David Moody Jr. What's the website they can get it?
moodyspeaks.com.
And that's where the rest of that information is. Thank you so much for coming in this morning and sharing your story.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.